Hello everyone, it's Sean from Sean's Model Builds, and today, to celebrate the final episode of Picard this week, I am going to unbox my 2500 scale Enterprise D from AMT. Now this one was produced in 2019. You can see it has a picture of the ship on it. It comes, thankfully, with full Aztec decals, much like the old 2009 edition of the Enterprise refit. It comes with a stone base, posable of course, and I believe that on the side of the box, the inner side, just like with the Captain Pike Enterprise, it has the color key. So you can choose the base color. I'll probably choose a light gray because the Aztecs are a bluish. And it shows where to put all the decals, including the Aztec panel decals and which colors to paint. Now you can see how the impulse engine housings are a different color than the phaser, but I have a dark iron, which I'll probably use for the phasers. And that light blue, you see the I have a light blue. I have a light blue spray paint in aircraft color. Give me 1 minute. There it is. Light, well, let me see if I can. There, that's clearer. See, light blue. Now, of course, I'll have to run a test to see how it is, or if it doesn't work, I will use the same color that I used for Voyager, which was the, well, it clearly says light blue right there. So that's probably the color I'll end up using for the wart nacelles. You can see how well they turned out on Voyager. That if I look at the picture of the ship, that is approximately the same blue. Let's take you down to 1x view again. That's approximately the same blue. So that'll work out quite nicely. So we'll take a look at the parts now, get my scissors ready so I can cut open the bags and replace them with Ziploc bags. So I will be right back. All right, I'm back again. So what we'll do is look at the instructions first, because they have, it's not the color callouts in the instructions these days. It is just, in fact, it's just one sheet. It's basically the very simple assembly of the ship. So the two halves of the saucer, so that means you can paint the saucer as one piece, although I'll probably paint the two halves separately. I'll probably paint all these pieces separately. This is the inner section, but you must remember that the top of the secondary hull only covers in here, so you're going to have to paint this too, but tape off the tabs. The nacelles, well, it looks like, and I'll see when I attach them if they have clear parts to include or not. 36 and 38, those might be the clear parts. And then you attach the saucer to, the completed saucer to the neck. So not much assembly. And it looks like I've already put the Ziploc bag around the Aztec decals. So let's just take a look at what we have here. I had to trim the Aztec decal sheets so they would fit into the bag. So let's see, the first one, it comes with the registry. You can see how they have the nice raised panel. Now, if you look at that, it has a trace of gray. Want to make sure that the hull is different than that gray. And I remember looking at the Decals website, and they have different colors of Aztecs for the ship. So I think I might order a few different varieties, like the light blue, the light gray, compare them all. Actually, give me 1 moment. I want to check on one more thing. Be right back. All right, I'm back again. You see how I have the 7-ship Enterprise set. Well, it seems to me that set has a bunch of extra aftermarket decals that I ordered for it. So let's just see what they look like. And if I can find the ones for the Enterprise D. Maybe I already have an extra set and don't have to order one. That's the B. You don't want that one. I mean, I got so many sets for these. I just wanted to make sure I had lots of spares because you never know what could go wrong. And I think I put each bag, I divided each bag up by a specific ship. So that's all Enterprise B. That's the C. This is the E again. Okay, Enterprise D marking decals. I think that's all. I don't think there are any... and that's all the spares from my old restored ship. Okay, so that's good there. Of course, those escape pods are separate. But you see... Yeah, one minute here. These are separate escape pods. Now, if you look at these, compared to the ones in the polar lights, you can see how these escape pods are slightly more pink. But I'm saving these escape pods for the Enterprise anyway, from the 7-ship set. So that you can have one with a different set of Aztec pattern. So that's an even better idea. Here's the phasers. You see the phaser decals? And we're going to see if the kit comes with phaser decals, so you don't have to paint them. That is about it. 1 minute. I'm going to check what the base decals are for that 7-ship set. Alright, so here's all the instructions. So you have a spare Enterprise D that comes with it. Just let me... Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So, let's compare the white-backed Aztec decals that come with the 7-ship set with the blue-backed Aztec decals that come with the Enterprise by itself. You see how they're brighter on that one. So let's say that's the restored Enterprise from Picard Season 3, Episode 9. And that this is the Generations Enterprise, where the blue is slightly faded. Yes, because the ship is 8 years old by then. Then you can compare the two. But you can see how the pattern, especially on the bridge area, is exactly identical. So that's a good thing. And there's nothing else in here until this page that shows the registry number and the separate things. So that's good. So you can build 2 Enterprise Ds, one from by itself and one from the 7-ship set. So let's just take a look at the rest of the decals on the Enterprise by itself, which I'm going to call the Picard Season 3 Enterprise versus the Generations Enterprise. Now please forgive the condition of my old Enterprise from 1994. I still have to use the glue to reattach the nacelle. But you can at least get the idea. Let's just say that this is what the Enterprise looked like in an alternate timeline before it was restored. Let's just say that. Get a good picture here. There you go. Now you see how this one has no Aztec decals. No Aztec pattern at all that you can make out. And I did try my hand at subtly painting some of the windows white. Covered up the silvering with the damaged decals, but it uses the old 1000 scale Enterprise arrowhead stand before they came out with the Polar Lights one. And this was model number 3. It was a restoration. My dad and I put it together in 1994, and it survived mostly intact except for one broken nacelle. And so I restored it in 2018, giving it a silver chrome hull because it had been 25 years since I first built a model. So silver seemed appropriate. So now we'll continue with the decals of the ship before we get on to the parts. So you've got the first decal sheet here and its cover. There we go. The second decal sheet. So you can see the subtle gray and everything. And the gray around the bridge. The transporter emitters are embedded in, just like the escape pods, and unless I'm very much mistaken, so are the windows. You see the windows are all black. But they're in there. Even on the neck. Okay, good. And then the third and final sheet. Yeah, sheet 3. You can see the little Enterprise names. You can see the pinstriping is already integrated into the decals everywhere. That's the star drive hull. That's the fantail. Don't be afraid to cut this up. Right beside the transport emitter. I don't see an easy place to cut here. Oh, well, maybe I do. A little zigzag, perhaps. Because you don't want to put it on in one piece or it'll fragment and break. You want to put it on, but it'll be nice. You have a Generations Aztec scheme. You have this one, and then you have the one from the restored Enterprise, the decals. So I'm going to open up all the parts, get them ready for viewing, and I'll be right back. You've got the Polar Lights base and its stand. I'm going to leave them in the bag. You've got the 2 saucer halves. I'm going to take them out of their bag and try to find a Ziploc bag that will fit them. Yeah, got a few bags here. We'll see which one fits it the best. So let's see here. Don't worry, I will cut the flash off the saucer later. Alright, so you can see the flash parts. I'll carefully cut them off from here. You see that line? I'll use that line as a guide. There's the pegs. There is the copyright. See how it says 2019? So in this case, I might try masking off the inside of the hull. Let's see. And you can see the smooth hull, you can see the phasers. Hopefully it comes with phaser decals. There's the bottom of the saucer with the indented windows and everything. The connection for the secondary hull, so it looks a lot like it did. It looks a lot like I remember it. So let's see if we can find a bag to put it in here. Don't want one that's too big. Not big enough. Okay, it'll have to be this bag. Seems to be the only one big enough to put the saucer halves in. There we go. Alright, so that's good. And then the final bag has the other parts in it. The nacelles, the star drive section, everything. Yeah, here we go. So this is the parts tree for the secondary hull. And the 2 nacelle halves, you can see where the nacelles fit. And it looks like most of the parts, I'll just get my file for a minute because I hope I see something. Or a toothpick, because I'm seeing something. I'm seeing some flash that is in the way here. I want to see if I can do a little fit test. So give me a few moments and I will be back. All right, I'm back again. There is a secondary hull nacelle bottom fit test and fits in quite well. And you don't, if I push well enough, don't want to break anything. Minimal seam. That's good. Extract. Good, there you go. There's the phasers. So again, you mask all this when you spray paint. There's a deflector dish. Now it's not a clear piece, so I am going to have to paint from the front. There's the bottom of the hull. There's this polar light stand. The other one had a slot. This one just has a circle hole. All right. So that's about it. I'm going to put the parts in the bag and we'll wrap this video up. All right, so I got the bits off the saucer. I'm going to test it with the pegs. Now, keep in mind any rough edges. Well, I might make this the restored Enterprise D, so the rough edges won't matter, because I'll just say, oh, it's just residual damage from Viridian 3. Let me make sure that the parts can actually fit in the pegs here. You want to align everything correctly. Give me 1 minute. Well, the weird thing is it seems to be fitting everywhere but the very front peg. So what I might end up doing is cutting off the front peg just so it can fit in properly. That might be the only answer, because you can see it's fitting in everywhere else without a seam, without a problem. The front peg, and you don't want to break the, you don't want to stress the very front here, so just give me 1 second. See, now it's hard to get apart. The irony is the front peg is in there, it is holding on, but the peg hole isn't quite wide enough. And now the peg just broke off, so give me 1 moment to get the peg out of its hole so that I can fix this. That's why I'm glad I have 2 Enterprise saucers. No other peg broke off, it was just the front peg. But since it was the one causing the problem, that's not a problem, because you can use the other 4 pegs to align everything correctly. I'm just trying to get rid of the peg stub here and file down the peg stub in the bottom of the saucer. So let's try this again. I don't want to really put in the neck blind though. So let's try this again without the front peg in the way, and I'll be right back if I'm successful. There you go. By removing the front peg and its stub entirely, I got the saucer to fit together. Now, any, you see? Yes. And you see? Yes. But any difficulty, you notice how there's no damage on the inner saucer? I mean the back edge, just the front edge? Well, that can all be explained by Viridian 3 damage on the saucer itself. And you hear the rattle? Well, don't worry, I will get that out of there. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave the saucer, I'm going to leave everything intact, because this will be the best way to paint it. Now, let me see if I can get that part out again. All right, good. Well, that makes sense. This somewhat little mistake in the gap, well, that's perfect for Generations damage. Left over from the leading edge of the saucer for Picard's Season 3, so that'll be a good plot line. So that is that. That is all for the saucer section. So now it's combined, and probably will stay that way. Of course, I'll clamp it. Doesn't have any glue in there, Probably have to take it apart one more time, give it glue, and then clamp it. I'm going to put it at the top of everything. So there's the secondary hull. There's the stand and its rod. So bring the saucer. Good. There we go. Decals and instructions. So there you go. It's all packed up already. All good. Excellent. So that is the 2500 scale Enterprise from Picard. Yes, it will be from Picard. That's right. That was not a misnomer. So I'm just going to leave it on the shelf there for now. That'll be it for this week's video. How it compares to the Aztec Decals on the 1400 scale Enterprise D when it's done. So, and that means I'll have about 4 versions of the Enterprise D. The old Salvage from Generations section, the All Good Things version without the third nacelle, the 7-ship set, which will be the Generations before the battle, and the Picard version here. Which makes sense because at 2019, I think that's a year before Picard aired, so it makes sense in the timeline. So, that's all for now for Sean's model builds. And we'll see you here next time and hope that you enjoy the final episode of Picard tomorrow night. Bye-bye.